All right, let's dive into a massive, and I mean massive, shift that's happening right now in digital security. At the very heart of it all is one company, SEALSQ. This is really a story about a colossal threat, and the one company that's decided to go all in on finding the solution. I want you to just let that sink in for a second. Every single piece of digital information you count on, we're talking your photos, your bank details, your private emails, heck, even the entire blockchain, is protected by encryption that is on the verge of becoming totally breakable. So what is this thing? Well, the industry calls it the quantum threat. And look, this is not some far-off science fiction idea. It's a near-future reality. Quantum computers are getting powerful enough to basically shatter all the locks on our entire digital world. This isn't a maybe, it's one of the biggest cybersecurity challenges we have ever faced. Period. So who's stepping up to solve this? Well, this is where SEALSQ comes in. According to the research from CleaRank, this is the only publicly traded company whose entire reason for being is quantum security. Think about that. They are betting the whole farm on solving this one single enormous problem. And this is where their strategy gets really, really interesting. You see, while the big tech giants, like a Palo Alto Networks, are definitely working on quantum security, for them, it's just one project out of many. But for SEALSQ, it's everything. It's their entire mission. This is what we call a pure play strategy. And it gives them this incredible, laser-like focus that their competitors just can't match. Okay, so a focused company is great, but just how big is this opportunity they're chasing? Let's take a look at the market, because the potential here is, frankly, massive. Just look at that number, a projected compound annual growth rate, or CAGR, of over 38%. Now, for some context, that just means if the market grew at a steady rate, it would average that much growth every single year. In the world of market projections, that is an absolutely explosive rate of growth. And this chart really puts that percentage into dollars and cents. The market is projected to leap from around $500 million in 2023 to over $4.6 billion by 2030. This is the giant wave that SEALSQ is paddling hard to get in front of. But listen, a huge market and a singular focus, that's not always enough. You need the muscle, the fundamentals, to actually compete and win. So, what does SEALSQ have under the hood? Well, the analysis points to three huge advantages. First off, they control their own supply chain, all the way from the base silicon chips to the final product. Now, this is critical because it gives them way more control over quality and production. They're not waiting on someone else for the most important parts. Second, they've already carved out a strong niche in the high-stakes military and satellite sectors. And third, this isn't some fly-by-night startup. This is a company with a 25-year history that just made a key acquisition to pivot directly into quantum-grade silicon, the special hardware you need for this new security era. Now, let's talk numbers, because they tell a really powerful story. Let's run through these quick. First up, they are sitting on a huge pile of cash, $150 million to be exact. And that means they have the money to actually execute their plan. On top of that, they're not just hoping for business to show up. They already have a secured order backlog of $170 million that stretches out for years. And to protect all this innovation they're building, the company holds 106 patents. So you've got cash, you've got confirmed orders, and you've got protected intellectual property. That is one heck of a foundation. Just look at this balance sheet. It paints a perfect picture. You have $320 million in assets, that's their cash plus that order backlog, stacked up against a tiny $7 million in debt. That is an incredibly strong financial position to be in. And this quote from CleaRank's senior market strategist really just sums up the whole strategy perfectly. It's a high stakes, but it's a very calculated bet. By being the only public company with this single-minded focus, they are positioning themselves to potentially own this entire industry if that bet pays off. So when you put it all together, this massive market, the unique pure play strategy, and these rock-solid fundamentals, what's the official verdict from the CleaRank analysts? The rating is clear, it's direct, a buy. Based on their analysis of the market position, the financials, everything, the stock is seen as a really strong opportunity. Okay, so what does that mean in terms of price? Let's break it down. The base case, the most likely scenario over the next 12 months, is set at $7.80.
In a bull case, where things go really well with rapid adoption, the target is between $9.50 and $12. The bear case, which accounts for things like potential delays, is in the $4.20 to $4.50 range.
But here's the number that really captures the long-term potential. If SEALSQ can execute its strategy, if they can maintain their lead in the space, the analysis suggests the stock could move north of $30 a share down the road. So let's just quickly recap the whole story here. You have an urgent, unavoidable problem, the quantum threat. You have a uniquely focused hero, SEALSQ. They are charging into a market that's set to absolutely explode, and they're doing it from a position of incredible financial strength. It all adds up to that BUY rating from CleaRank. And really, this all brings us to one final huge question. When you stop and consider that basically all of our current digital infrastructure needs to be rebuilt with quantum-safe technology, you just have to ask, are we looking at the birth of the next trillion-dollar industry? Now, this explainer really just scratches the surface. To get the full deep dive analysis straight from the source, and, importantly, to understand the key risks involved, like potential competition or execution delays, you can read the complete forecasts over on CleaRank.com.